Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Charlton Live, sponsored by PSF Steel Limited. My name is Louis Mendes. Hope you guys are all well on your Sunday morning. On today's show, we will be looking back at yet another victory in SE7 with the Addicts wiping Exeter City off the face of the earth with a 3-0 win in SE7 yesterday. Joining me to look back at that game, first up, top right, Nathan Miller. How you doing, Nath?
Living the dream, mate. How are you guys? Good. It's weird, this winning sort of lark, isn't it? It's a bit weird.
I can't get used to it. I'm feeling a little bit unsettled, if anything. Like it's not normal. It's not the natural order of things. But yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good, mate. Good to see you. Also on the bottom of the screen there is Mr. Joe Puddyfoot. How you doing, Joe?
Yeah, very good. Thank you very much. I mean, I've only reviewed losses this season, so I really am feeling peculiar about having to talk about some positivity for a change.
Yeah, well, we'll get used to it because that's the way we operate in these parts nowadays. So on today's show, then we'll be looking back at yesterday's 3-0 win against Exeter City. We're going to hear the goals from Charlton TV very shortly. We're going to hear, of course, from the Addicts boss. Nathan Jones, and we've got an interview with the scorer of the second goal, Tyrese Campbell. Later on in the show as well, we'll touch on something that a lot of people have been speaking about over the weekend, of course, the fact that the naming rights for the stadium appear to be up for grabs, which I know a lot of people want to talk about, so we'll talk about that later on in the show as well. I want to hear from you guys. Morning to everyone who's joined us in the chat. All Hell Let Loose is first in, says this season's got that Lee Bowyer 2019 feeling about it. It started slowly, and now the big players have stepped up. We'll see you all at Wembley. Where's Sunderland when you need them? Yeah, maybe they could be relegated for one day just so we could play them very quickly. Morning to Sam Andrews in there, Mike Salmon, Mickey, Keith, Dudley, Steve's in there, Alan, Adam, Shiny Field, James, Bernie. Let us know your thoughts, and Dina and Paul on yesterday's win against Exeter City. How confident are you feeling now about the top six race? It's so tight there, isn't it, at the top of that League One table? We're still outside the top six, but after Orient were beaten at Bolton yesterday, it's only on goal difference. Three teams locked on 53 points, Orient, Charlton and Bolton. Huddersfield on 55. Stockport on 57. We've got a game in hand on them. They're in fourth, and they're only 4 points ahead of us. Reading just coming up the rear on 50 as well. Plenty to play for in the remaining 14 games of the season. But, I mean, after yesterday's performance, we have to keep feeling really confident that we've got a very good chance of making our way into that top six. Nathan, before we hear the goals, I mean, sum up your thoughts on yesterday's game. 1-0 up at the break, home goal. 2 goals in the second half. It's all getting a little bit too easy, really, isn't it? Like, it's just it'd be nice if some real teams could come and try and face us at some point.
Oh yeah, to be fair, I don't want to speak too soon, but I know what you mean. But yeah, do you know what? I'm not even being facetious, but I expected a bit more from Exeter. I don't know why. I just thought it was going to be more of they would have offered a lot more. And I think it was plain to see, really. We dominated them the first half, into aggressively to the extent where they had to bring Ryan Woods on, who's an experienced pro at this level. And obviously they had their goalie went down with bad injury. Shame that he's a Palace player, but so I gave my 2 pence worth on him. But yeah, no, I thought the whole game I felt relatively comfortable. Like, it's just weird feeling like even at 1-0 never felt threatened at all, and they had Super Josh McGuinness up front, the ever prolific one, the evergreen Josh. But yeah, I thought it was just a really professional, efficient sort of performance. One of those ones, just get over the line, very comfortable, some great play, great movement. I thought our movement was very good at times yesterday. And yeah, all round a good performance, really, and very, very confident. So next game, but yeah, no, very good, mate.
Yeah, lovely scathing attack on Exeter City first thing in the morning as well. I didn't realise you were filled with so much rage about the Grecians, but good to get that off your chest. Right, let's have a listen to the goals from Charlton TV yesterday. Steve Brown, of course, was alongside Greg Stubley and Terry Smith.
Let's take the same commentaries in a bit of space down here. Instead it goes in, and it's down the back of the net. Was that Matty Godden's touch? Or was that an own goal? Sent in by Berry on the edge of the penalty area into the 6-yard box, and I think that could have been an own goal. Godden was the first to react, but I I haven't seen the replay. My colleagues are saying own goal.
I'm guessing from Matty's reaction, because if it's him, he celebrates a lot more than that. But look, we'll go back to how we won that free kick, which has led to the goal. And let me tell you, it's a big goal, because now Exeter are going to have to come out a little bit. They're not going to have to come out immediately, but certainly they're going to have to come out to try and get this equaliser, which they weren't really trying to do up to this point. So it's a big goal in that respect. But I love the way that we created that goal in terms of Ramsey and small link-up. They're looking good today.
I think it might have been McDonald who got the final touch.
Will give chase to the ball as Hartridge heads it down only as far as Tyrese Campbell. He's got Edwards making ground to his left. Campbell cuts inside instead and finds the far post. It's a brilliant finish from Tyrese Campbell. Opened his body up. The finish beyond Whitworth, and Charlton have that second goal that they were craving.
Yeah, it's a very good finish from Tyrese Campbell. I said, didn't I? I said he was looking hot in the warm-up. There it is. Look, it's a long ball that they don't deal with particularly well, but what's good to see is that we've backed up that long ball, that we win the knockdown, and we give ourselves an opportunity to get a strike away. The defending leaves a lot to be decided. You can't back off that far when a player's in shooting range on his good side with the ball at dead weight. But thankfully they did, and thankfully Tyrese Campbell picked his spot and curled it with a bit of pace.
Right hand side, sends it into the channel. Leeburn pursuing it, and he's onside. Miles Leeburn. Campbell making it into the penalty area. Leeburn onto his left foot, still right and left. Oh! Superb footwork from Miles Leeburn. Ends up slotting it in off the right-hand post to give Charlton the third.
Not sure I saw his dad do that, I've got to be honest. Sorry, Carlo. You did lots of other stuff very, very well. But that was a very, very good individual goal. He was very, very positive as soon as he got into that channel. He's angling in towards goal, driving the defender back towards his near post. And I'm not quite sure what the drags back were, right to left, then left to right, and then a rifle across the goal, in off the far post from an acute angle. It's a wonderful finish and an excellent individual goal.
There we go. That was the highlights from Charlton TV from yesterday's win against Exeter City at the Valley. I mean, talk us through that performance from your point of view, Joe. It felt in that opening 10-20 minutes to me like an attack versus defence sort of training ritual where we were just maybe struggling a little bit to find those opportunities, but then the goal came from the own goal, and then, you know, again, probably similar in the second half. Once we got ahead, and once we got the second goal, it felt like it's just a process. It felt so comfortable again. And how many times have we said that about our recent home wins?
Yeah, it's an interesting one from sort of the sort of flow of the game, because they were really struggling to impose themselves. They were, you know, occasional long balls to McGuinness against three centre halves as having absolutely zero success, and we were able to just keep recycling the ball and keep the pressure on. But even though they were sort of camped in their half, they still didn't manage to sort of stop us sort of breaking through. I still feel, even though it was attack versus defence, I don't think we had a shot on target, did we, in the first half, despite going 1-0 up thanks to that superb finish from their defender. But, you know, we just sort of didn't even have to go through the gears, really. We were comfortable all game. Small was dangerous. Campbell was dangerous. Berry was picking up little pockets and being a bit of a nuisance, as he always is. You know, Godden's always nipping in and around. So you just sort of feel the whole time that you're pretty relaxed. And, you know, even at the back, you know, with the likes of Ramsey, when they do break out or they do get anywhere, again, you just sort of feel very, very comfortable. It's sort of bizarre, really. It's not Charlton-esque at all, almost like a pre-season friendly. It doesn't matter, sort of relaxed vibe about it, because you're just controlling. They obviously went down, didn't they? Their keeper had a season-ending injury that lasted for 3 minutes, and then they had a little chat about it. And if anything, when they came out, I thought they were just as inept, and we were still in complete control. And they made a substitution in the first half, and it just made no difference at all. So I think if you're looking at that as a as a neutral, you'd potentially even be saying that it looks like there's a bit of almost a division between the sides in terms of the way in which the game was played. Very, very comfortable all round. And I think it just goes to show that we are now a team that can impose ourselves on the ball as well as off of it and start to control and dictate the flow of the game. And I've been a detractor of Coventry's since he arrived, but over the last sort of 10 games or so, I'd say he's really come through. And some of those passes that he was making yesterday, just to turn their defence around when they were coming forward, I think were just exceptional. And he really is dictating our game. And it doesn't seem that oppositions are able to really get in and disrupt him. I think the whole time that he's fit and available and just metronomically ticking us over in that sort of defensive position, I think it would be quite a hard team for oppositions to break down.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting, obviously, with Connor, because he's only one booking away from 2 game suspension. There's still another 5 games where he's got to not get booked, so he's got to be really careful. But at the same time, it's pointless taking him out of the side to avoid a two game ban for 5 games. So yeah, that feels slightly inevitable. We got to hope that doesn't happen. So I think the goal came at a good time because, like I say, Nath, it was attack against defence, but they were deep. I mean, they had a couple of forays maybe in the first half, but they were very deep. And the goal, it was inept defending. You know, again, I sort of watched it back yesterday. It's hit McDonald's sort of standing foot. It was quite funny. It was like a little. If he'd done it on purpose, it would have looked like quite a nice little back heel flick. But yeah, it was a great free kick from Berry into a danger zone. They've just missed their header at the near post, and it's gone through and hit McDonald. And the timing of the goal, I thought, was very important for us.
Yeah, exactly. I think if you look at previous games like the Shrewsbury one, the longer it goes on, there's 0-0, and they're there to frustrate. And as Joe says, it was quite clear what their plan was with McGuinness up front. Obviously, trying to try and sit in and use the play into space, but McGuinness didn't really touch Lloyd Jones really, so nothing was really sticking. So as he said, we was just recycling; it was just coming back. So yeah, the longer it went on as 0-0, it starts getting a little bit edgy. The crowd might start to get a bit edgy, and but yeah, as soon as that first goal went in, it was just like a deep breath, and we go again. And it was just it was just a case of how much we was going to do it, because as Joe said, they made the change. They tried having a little bit of a sort of come, get together on how they're going to try and stop us, and nothing really changed. So it was just making sure that when we did get our moments, which the last 2 were brilliant moments, which we'll come on to, I'm sure, but as long as we took those moments, we weren't going to lose that game or draw that game, because a lot of teams will come in and play like that and sit in, and we've struggled at times to break those teams down. But yesterday it was brilliant. But felt for obviously, the build-up for the actual that led to the free kick was Thierry being Thierry, doing what he's got to do, went in between both of them, and after that, you booked. Bristol Rovers, someone got booked. Clinton Mola got booked early doors and got hooked as well. So you're on a yellow against Thierry, you're in for a long afternoon, or you're going to have a quick shower. So I thought he was impressive yesterday, down that right-hand side all game.
Yeah, that Niskanen, booked early in that for that free kick, ended up getting hooked. What was it, about half an hour in, as you said, for Ryan Woods, and he was the same fellow who's been charged with drink driving this week, so it's not been his best week, really, to be fair, Joe. Second half, I mean, we had a couple of chances at the start of the second half. I mean, Whitworth, we were going out of our way to try and take the mick out of him, obviously, because he's on loan from Palace, but on paper, apparently, he's quite a good keeper, and made that great double save. We'll talk about Anderson's performance in a bit anyway, but it was a good save from Anderson and God, and then, again, a bit of patience, but I mean, that second goal from TC, I really like TC. I've really enjoyed watching his performances grow over his Charlton career, and I mean that was a lovely little finish. And again, when we hear from TC later and from Nathan, you'll hear what was said to Tyreece when he came off the pitch. But I don't know if many people saw this, but when Tyreece was substituted, Nathan was right in his face, pointing in his finger, like giving him some. Not a telling off, but he was giving him some really ferocious instruction or praise. So I asked him after what it was about. But I mean that finish from TC was a wonderful little drive into the bottom corner.
Yeah, it was. It was a sensational finish, and the whole goal really was well worked. Despite it being a long ball, we were there to pick up the second pieces. Despite being a long ball, Josh Edwards was somehow on the overlap already when it landed at TC, which kept the defenders and the goalkeeper honest. And I think even if Whitworth had been 5'8", he still would have struggled to get across and save that because it was tucked perfectly into the corner. And that's the bit of composure, really, that the likes of TC have been lacking at times this season. But it's there in his locker. He can do it. And I think he's becoming more and more dangerous. He is, I think, one of our main threats, along with Thierry Small, in terms of getting past players and giving us opportunities. And if he can add a direct threat in terms of his own goal-scoring prowess to his game, then I think his conversion into a striker / winger or inside forward type player is going to be complete. And he, I think, offers us something that we really don't have elsewhere in the side in terms of that the goal threat and the trickery. And I said sort of when the window closed, with the squad being thin, he's so important to keep fit. And if he can continue to work on those angles and take those players on and start to find those finishes, then he's going to be a very, very difficult player for people to come up against. And especially with Small on the other side, it really does prevent oppositions from doubling up on them, because if you double up on both sides, then you're going to leave Matty Godden free in the middle, and that's not a great idea either.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Joe mentioned obviously about in that move for the second goal, like how high up Josh Edwards was yesterday, Nathan. I thought, I might have been imagining this, but I thought out of possession, the wing-backs were higher than they normally were. I just felt we were so far up the pitch, and obviously reminds us of what Tom said, Tom Vickery said on our show, the Exeter fan, on Thursday evening, about how Exeter were a side that like to try and play out, but we press so high. I mean, I know we're known for pressing, that's what we do, but it felt like we'd almost stepped it up another notch, and at times they just couldn't get out of their own half. It was tactically, I just think we did what we had to do to them and just prevented them from being able to try and play their game at all.
Yeah, exactly. And as you say, the press was really good. We just outfought them, outrun them, like every aspect. Any duels, we were just in their faces early doors. And when you've got this level, even though you do play it from the back, we still got to remember they're not Man City. So if push comes to shove, they are going to go long very quickly, which they were doing. And it was 1v1 v Jones and Josh McGuinness. And even if Josh McGuinness did win the ball, there was no one really around him because they were so deep. And it just kept coming back. So they obviously had a problem of trying to, as Joe said earlier, trying to impose themselves on the game. But you couldn't really see what their plan was. That they were just sort of clinging on for most of the game. They had a little bit of a good start to the second half, but apart from that, they didn't really have much else. And yeah, that comes from obviously pressing. You can always press, but you've got to press as a team. And if our wing backs are higher, then obviously that gives us more, ability to go and press high. It might cause them to go longer or a bit quicker and in the space in behind, but we had that all covered anyway. So yeah, no, it was a really, really impressive performance yesterday, and it was a confident performance. I think it was one of those times where there's games where we like last year we lacked a bit of swagger. I think that's the right word, but it was just a confident sort of, yeah, we know what we're good at. We're just going to impose ourselves on you, and we're just going to win today. And it just felt like that air of confidence.
I mean, yeah, the chat in the press room before, like this, it was like, we're going to win this. Like, how many times over the years have we gone? I think we might win this, but you never know. But before the game, I was just like, well, we'll win this one. I just can't see how we don't, like the way we're playing at the moment. The third goal was a fantastic goal as well, Joe. I mean, the ball from Ramsey was just superb. I mean, what a player he is, by the way. Like, he's been absolutely brilliant, Kane Ramsey. And Miles Leeburn, off the bench, and I think it's fair to say last couple of performances, maybe before the Birmingham game, people have said he looked a little bit jaded, maybe a little bit tired, but I mean, he's got that in his locker. I feel like that's not the first goal he scored like that, like twinkle toes in the area and then firing across, but it was a wonderful, wonderful finish in off the post. And yeah, like as you'll hear us say to Nathan after, like, how many sides in League One up top can bring a player of that quality off the bench? Like even Birmingham, when they bring someone off the bench, obviously Alfie's up there, but it could be like Lyndon Dykes or someone. Like not someone who's got the ability to do what Miles did there yesterday.
Yeah, and I mean, all through, I think that goal was just two very, very good individuals doing what they can do. The tackle from, I mean, Small was back there, but Ramsey wins the ball, marauds forward, and then that curler of a pass. I mean, if that was Trent, then they'd be waxing lyrical about it on Match of the Day. But because it's League One, the pass actually gets cut out of the highlight reel because it doesn't matter. But it's an unbelievable ball into space. And when Lee Burn's going through like that, that's when he's, at his absolute best. I think he's got defenders on toast when he wants to, and quick changes of direction. And Tyrese Campbell, I think, said in one of the interviews he was looking for a cross at the back post, but I think if he'd stood there for 100 attempts, he would never have passed that. It was always going to be going for goal, and it was a very, very assured and comfortable and confident finish. And even in his sort of spell where he was looking a little bit jaded, he had those couple of goals, and I can't remember which game it was where he scored 2 with the beautiful lob. He's always got that sort of killer instinct in his locker, and it's nice to be able to bring on the players of his caliber. And I know Chucks didn't come on when we haven't needed him because we're winning, but we've got players like that on the bench that can come on and change games. And if it does give you a lot of confidence that as you come into the back end of the games, one of the reasons why we are going to be so strong is A, we are a very, very fit squad, but B, we've got some players that you don't necessarily want to be facing if you're a defender with tired legs. And Lee Burn, Chucks, even Godden, if he wasn't starting coming off the bench, these are all the types of profile of player that are going to put the fear of God into you. But it's nice to see that despite the fact that we have got a lot more control on the ball, our last 2 goals were both longer balls, but into very intelligent areas, and that has just completely opened up an opposition, and that bodes well for the rest of the season.
Yeah, now, right. Team news before the game. Obviously, we knew that Ashley was going to be coming out in goal because he got injured up at Birmingham. But the surprise was obviously Doherty was ill. Sounded like he didn't train Friday. Ethan says that was a bit worried with Anderson coming in for Doc after a good run from Doc, but I thought he played a blinder. There's defo a player in there. Paul Crispy saying cracking afternoon, was a bit nervous to see Anderson with Doc ill, but would stick with the same team for Orient. Keroy was superb in a deeper role. I mean, there's someone asked earlier on in the chat as well about, I mean, Keroy, I think that was the best we've seen of him yesterday. It was the only downside is he couldn't put his header away, but from a few yards out. But other than that, that was the most involved he's been, the most composed he's been on the ball. He did his breaking up work as he always does, and he brought the energy. That was a really positive performance from Keroy Anderson yesterday, Nath.
Yeah, it was. I thought he was brilliant, and there are those games where he has, and he can really impact a game in terms of his work rate and his desire. I don't think that's ever been faulted. I just think from my point of view, there were games where I think technically could he be better? And listen, he's still young, he's still learning, and he will get better. But I thought, he was brilliant yesterday. Coming into the side that's been playing well, and Doc Seal, so he's had his chance, and all Nathan can do is, if you get your chance, it's your time to try and take it, because that's why he's not really moved things around for the last God knows how many games, because people have deserved to start. So what that is down to Keroy now, that he's had a good performance and probably up there with, man of the match of the shortlist for that. But it's about kicking on now, maintaining those levels. That's the next bit, is having that consistency in his game. And then who knows what can happen. But, if I don't know how long Doc's ill for, but it's a big call in a big game. Will Nathan revert to sort of the experience of Doc, or will he go to Keroy? Well, you took your chance, so it's only fair that you play. So it'll be interesting next week. But yeah, yesterday it was one of his better games. But we know he can do that, off the ball and press teams. We know he can do that. It's just maintaining that level of consistency for me.
Yeah, and Nathan poses that question. I mean, Dudley's posed the same one in the chat. I mean, does Anderson keep his place next week if Doc is fit? Mike Salmon saying it's a very tough call. Steve says, I think Doc is more accomplished and consistent. Keroy was man of the match yesterday, but Doc has to come back in when fit. But again, as Nathan said, I mean, how many players have got a chance through injury or illness? I mean, the main one's probably the goalkeepers, where we've seen that the most. But you come in, you keep the shirt if you perform. So I think there is a decision to be made there. It's one game, and I think Doc has been very important for us. So maybe a tougher decision than some of the ones that Nathan has had to make there. But how do you see that going next week, Joe?
I think it's be incredibly harsh on Doc, who's been consistent over a long period of time, to be ill for one game and then just be completely out. And I think actually it potentially sets a dangerous precedent of players then not being honest if they've got a little knock, because they know if they're missing for one game and someone comes in, then they're going to be sat on the bench. So you want healthy competition. But I still think that the difference between Doc and Karoy is on the ball. And there's a bit more composure, a bit more of a assuredness, and take the header yesterday. I reckon Doc puts that away, and in a tight game, that's the difference. And he had 3 headers, didn't he, Karoy, yesterday, and didn't really do enough with them. So if you're looking at a game against a side which it's going to be a much tighter affair, I think you need the people that are going to make the difference on the ball as well as the difference off the ball. I do think Karoy looked a lot better in a deeper position, and I 100% agree that's probably his best performance for us so far. But if he's going to be looking to be a mainstay in a promotion charge, I do think that there's an element of his game which Doc just can outshine him on at the minute. The counter to that is I don't think that Doc has the energy, agility, or pace or power that Karoy has. So it depends on what you're looking for from the game. But I'd go back to the formula we have had, and I'd be bringing Doc back in myself, because in those tight games, I just feel like you need that little bit extra edge.
Yeah, because that's a good point as well. Obviously, the fact that Karoy was playing in the slightly deeper role yesterday, I feel like more times than not he's playing the more advanced midfielder this season, which maybe hasn't given him the chance to show what he's at his very best at. Nathan likes pressing aggressive, front-footed from the front, and he obviously feels that having him in that further forward position is able to provide that. But maybe it just looked a little bit tidier for him yesterday, sitting a little bit further deep. Right, home form, Nathan, is ridiculous. So we've won 5 games at home now in a row. I think we're unbeaten in 9 now at the Valley, which is again incredible. We've won, was it 7 out of those 9? I think. It's getting a bit silly, which is. It's just incredible. The amount of clean sheets we're keeping at home as well. So I make that 6. I think we've only conceded 1 goal in 7 games at home, which was the Peterborough one, if memory serves me right. Just looking at my stats from yesterday. So we've had to do that. We've had to pile on these points at home, and we've had to become relentless and make it a difficult place to come, because too often over the last few seasons, the Valley, people ain't been scared to come to the Valley, but it's a very different story now.
Yeah, it is. I think you can tell by the teams that set up. Exeter like to play. I know Peterborough sort of did have to sit in when they went down to 10 men, but I think a lot of teams are naturally looking at it and giving us a lot of respect for what we're doing and the momentum that we've built. And I think you'll see a lot more of that. There's not many teams that will come and try and really expansive. I think Bolton tried it, and then we obviously got pick them off early doors with obviously Doc Strike, and can't remember who scored the other one, and then Birmingham sort of, but not, you won't really have a lot of teams that would really come at you. They're going to have to try and be quite smart about it, considering all the threats that we have all over the pitch. So the home form is important. Obviously our away form, we've had a couple of losses there, but our home form is vital if we're ever going to do anything in any league. So but it is impressive in terms of how many clean sheets I think we're on now, 52 points now, and we've got 52 points at last year.
Yeah, 53. Yeah, so we've equaled the same amount of points as we got in the entirety of last season after just 32 games.
It's mad. It's mad, and you can't really. And that's how home game should be. The home game should be, yeah, we're favourites for this. We're confident we're going to win. Whereas previous years, we're going to home games going, oh, I don't know if we're going to score, let alone get a win. So, yeah, it's so positive and so vital in terms of trying to do something this year. So we've got some big games, home and away. We're going to have plenty of teams that come in, sit deep, do something similar to Exeter and Shrewsbury. So we've just got to have the right mentality to try and get those goals early just to settle the games down.
Yeah, Bethany says that we should be sponsored by Vanish, the amount of clean sheets we're keeping. Well, they might be interested in the stadium naming rights. Maybe we could, the Vanish Valley. Maybe we'll suggest that one later on in the show. Yeah, Luke was saying Karoy was a big part of that aggressive press yesterday. His energy is infectious, and we were hunting them in twos and in threes. I missed this apparently. So Alex says that Nathan Jones also gave Coventry a very hard, friendly slap in the face when he came off. He's quite a character, isn't he, our manager sometimes? But he's clearly gets the best out of the players, which has been there for all to see. Paul says it was clear from the first game of the season that at the Brick Community Stadium that Josh and Kane could be significant players. They obviously like a tackle and both have great engines. And are so athletic. Bernie says Doc gives Josh Edwards more support when defending than Karoy did. And again, I guess that's part of the game. If the learning that he's going to do as the season wears on. Right, I think we're going to hear from the Addicts boss Nathan Jones now. When we come back, we've still got loads of your messages. Let us know your thoughts on yesterday's game. But Nathan came to speak to myself and Rich Corley after the win against Exeter. This is what he had to say. Nathan, another win here in SC7. How did you see that one today?
I was delighted. I thought we were really dominant, from start to finish. Got the goal. I would have liked us to have probably been further ahead because it's always edgy. But look, I thought we were really, really professional. And then once we got the second, I thought we really kicked on. And look, really pleased because I thought from start to finish we were really, really good, really comprehensive. As I said, we haven't beaten Exeter since I've come here. We drew the first game, should have beaten them down there because we missed a gilt-edged chance in injury time, and then this year we lost 1-0, but we weren't really ourselves. Whereas today, I thought that was a proper Charlton performance.
I was going to say, very different game to the one they had down there. Shows how much the team has progressed this season.
Yeah, you'd have to say that, but we compare ourselves with us, and when we're the best version of ourselves, we're a good side, we're a good team. We've got players that can handle the football, players that want to work hard, want to press, want to defend their goal. And then when we bring players on, you saw the 4 subs we made today, 4 or 5 subs today, all had an impact. So look, the squad's in a good place. Crowd were magnificent as well. So yeah, I said it was a proper day for Charlton Athletic today. Yeah, it's another home win, 5 in a row, not conceding many goals here in SC7 at all. And your home form's been so good over the last few weeks. Yeah, and we wanted that. It has to be because the size of the football club, and when the fans are right behind us and when they see the level of performance that we put in, then it can be a difficult place for opposition to come to, and we have to continue that. We saw that with how Exeter sort of had to put a lot of men behind the ball, particularly in the blocks they were putting in their 6-yard box and penalty box today. Shows that they were expecting a bit of an onslaught from the Addicts. Well, I don't know. I can't. I cannot second guess what Exeter were thinking or what they did or anything. All I think is for us, we had to be the best versions of ourselves. We were aggressive from the off. We moved the ball well on a tricky pitch. When we threatened the back line, we went round. We put balls in the box. We missed chances. We could have been further ahead. Croy missed a great chance. And then when we brought game changers on, we continued that relentlessness. So again, all I'm concerned about is Charlton's level of performance. And today, yeah, it was proper. What did you say to Tyrese Campbell when he was coming off? He got his great goal today from outside the area. About time, because he gets in wonderful areas. In training, he does it, and he's devastating in training, and that's why I think. But he has to recreate that form, that training form, into matches. And today, I thought he did. Is that part of what you've been doing with him as his manager, sort of getting that confidence into him? Well, look, the confidence. I don't think he needs any more confidence. I love him. I play him. I work with him. I clip stuff out for him to see, and we, as a staff, we do. And we want him to be the best version of himself. Then sometimes he just needs that technical information that go and recreate what you do in training and how you do against people you know every day with people you don't. And once that happens, then we've got some player. You mentioned about Karoy. They're obviously coming in for Doherty, who was ill. What did you make of Karoy today? Truly outstanding. Probably one of his best games. He should have scored. But what he does, what Karoy Anderson does, is gets about the pitch. He's a threat. He works hard. He outworks people, and that's what he did today. I thought it was excellent. Wonderful performance. Talk about game changers. There can't be many clubs in League One who have someone come off the bench and do what Miles has done. It's a wonderful goal, isn't it? Well, look, you got DK, you got Chucks, we got Gassan, we got Hiltz, we got a plethora of attacking options. But Miles Liebern is a wonderful, wonderful player. Look, he's had a few. We've had to manage him well because of the injury when he came back, and he'll have peaks and troughs into certain stuff he does. But today he was proper. When he came on, he won headers. He looked a threat. He looked devastating. I know he can do things special because a 6'6" centre forward shouldn't be able to do what he can do with the football. That's special. But then all the other things that I want him to do, like win his headers, like be aggressive, like get about the pitch and be a threat, he did today. And it was a proper performance. Only a cameo, 30-minute cameo, but he was wonderful.
just on Doc's illness, nothing major. It should be back for next week.
Just ill. He just had sickness and things. It is the season for that. So, we didn't risk him. He trained Thursday but wasn't himself. Pulled him out Friday and then just didn't want to risk it. When you have the squad we have, we did that,
And just outside the top six on goal difference now, when you're looking at the other sides, they've been just as relentless as Charlton, so it shows the job you're going to have to do between now and the end of the season.
No, I don't look at anyone else. We got points total. We have to get to that points total. We'll worry about us. If we do our job, then that's all I can concern with.
What's the points total you're thinking you're going to need?
Oh, but look, that's in points total would be historic. So what we feel we need, and as long as we go after that total, then that's all we can do. But look, you never know. We might slip up. We might have a even better run and excel at. So I wouldn't put any pressure on anyone to do that. We know in house, and all we can do is keep trying to win the game that's in front of us. We're in a good position. We have a game in hand on a lot of people. We're in good form. We just have to concentrate on us. If we concentrate on us, then that's all I'm worried about.
PSF Steel Limited is a trade supplier of steel fabrication and erection services to the new build, construction and refurbishment market in southern England. With their unrivaled depth of experience, they excel at providing their customers with high quality and cost-effective steel fabrication solutions. Their customers include national and regional house builders, such as Barratt Homes, Bellway Homes, the Vistry Group and Taylor Wimpey. They pride themselves on their service-based ethos and commitment to customer service excellence, which includes full technical backup and on-site services and support. If you would like more information, go to www.psfsteel.co.uk. That's www.psfsteel.co.uk.
Hello fellow addicts, I'm so excited to tell you all about our micropub, the River Ale House. The River Ale House is based in East Greenwich. It has 6 Pub of the Year awards, an ever-changing selection of amazing beer. It's owned by Charlton fans, walkable to the ground in just 20 minutes with buses that go direct to the Valley too. If your matchday routine includes a drink with your friends, you must join your fellow addicts in the river. See you soon.
Well, welcome back to Charlton Live on your Sunday morning. Just for the breaks there, we heard from the Addicts boss, Nathan Jones, looking back at yesterday's win against Exeter City. I mean, he sounded pretty pleased, Nathan. I mean, everything's just clicking so well at the moment. Like there can be no complaints about the performances. Another clean sheet at the Valley, another very comfortable game. I think people on Thursday's show were mentioning maybe when we see us go 2-0 up, they want to see us push for more goals. Well, there's no problem with that yesterday as well. The confidence is there. You just got. I always try and sort of speak to him about the playoff race, but he's only concentrating on what we're doing. And if we continue doing what we're doing, then at some point the other teams are going to fall away.
Yeah, exactly that. And we're in a good space at the moment. Momentum's our way. Everyone's confident. You've got players performing. We're playing well as a team. You've got people on the bench coming off and changing games. They're pushing the first 11. And it's a really positive place to be at the moment. As you say, like we've got a game in hand, but if you're the other way around, if you look at Huddersfield and they've taken a bit of a wobble, and then we've not really come out of nowhere. We're sort of steady and surely going under the radar, and all of a sudden, since the Bolton game, everyone's probably looking down at us, going, "Where have these lot come from?" And we're going to be playing some teams in and around us, and it's going to be an interesting end of the year, but. Yeah, all we can do is just focus on the next game. I know it's very difficult to not try and predict games. Go, if we win this game and this game, but it's so tight up there. Anything can change. If we lost yesterday and Leyton Orient won, that's 6 points, and then it's pointless us trying to predict games. Do you know what I mean? So we've just got, as Nathan said, just focus on the next game. Worry about ourselves. If we win all of our games, we'll be fine. So I know it's pretty basic information there, but. We just got to focus on the next game and not try and get too carried away on where we'd finish up in terms of points totals. It's just focus on that next game, and that's Leyton Orient.
Yeah, he was very complimentary, of course, about Croy Anderson's performance yesterday. But also, what I asked him what he said to Tyrese Campbell when he came off. Then I think just about time. It's interesting. Like he obviously is trying to put this belief in these players, and someone like Tyreece has clearly got that ability. It's just about getting the shot off at the right time or perfecting the technique to do it. And he's clearly delighted with how Tyreece has come on this season, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's got to be the most frustrating thing about being a manager. If you watch somebody do something all week in training and then on Saturday they just do something completely different, it must just boggle your brain and go, well, come on, you've got it in your locker, just open it up and have a go. But I think it does show, I think that there's confidence is growing throughout the squad, but that Nathan will never let people rest on their laurels. Like a lot of managers could have possibly said to TC, "Oh, well done, you finally done it," and he's gone, "Like, about time. When's the next one?" Like it's always about moving forwards, always about pushing on, and I think it's quite a nice sort of motivational way to approach these types of conversations. But Tyreece, I think they've asked a lot of him in terms of changing position, and his end product was potentially one of his weaker areas last season, and even the season before, but he always had that ability to beat someone. So if he's now doing it in an environment where he's comfortable and confident down at Sparrows Lane, then that's great. But if he can start making the Valley somewhere that he's comfortable and confident to go about his work and do these things, then that will only add to his game, to the squad, and another thing for defenders to worry about. But we can talk all day long about sort of Nathan Jones, his techniques and his way. But I do think that when things are going well, I can't think of a better manager to have in the dugout, because he just is always pushing for that next thing. You're not going to rest on your laurels. And we were talking on Saturday about, you guys were talking on Thursday, sorry, about teams who might take their foot off the gas at the end of the season. Well, I don't think that Jones would let us, even if there was absolutely nothing to play for, take our foot off the gas. So imagine what he's going to be like in a playoff push, or even a top 2 push, which is ambitious, but not completely outside the realms if we continue this level of form on.
Well, we're 11 points outside the top 2 since you've raised it, so it's ambitious, certainly. I'll put it that way.
I'm going for 5 points outside the top 2, because if you beat Wickham, then you're 8 points, and they've got to go to Birmingham, and I don't see them. And their form over the last 10 games, they're a long way down the table. They're mid-table, so if the difference in the form at the minute over 15 games, we would be bang on level points with Wickham at the end of the season if we replicated that across the rest of the season to go.
I like the way your mind works there. I've decided that actually, you might as well just decide we're in the top 2 then. I've decided we're going to win all our games. I would decide we're winning the Champions League. Yeah, but it's possible. But yeah, let's see how things play out. But I'm concentrating on top 6. What you mentioned about Nathan not letting standards drop, I'll never forget last day of last season at Wickham when we were poor and we lost 1-0. And we're doing a post-match interview, and Nathan was fuming, and I was just expecting just a gentle little end-of-season interview, and he came in and he was raging with that performance, even though it was a completely nothing game. But yeah, that's the way he operates. Luke's pointing out that we haven't done any puns on the dog that was in the Labrador that was in the stands yesterday. That was quite funny. Yeah, the little it was that Rangers player whose dog was Rangers. Lovencrantz. Yeah, I thought he's for some reason his dog was down the valley yesterday. One other thing, just before we go into a couple of emails, Nathan, one thing that if I can find a downside from yesterday, I was absolutely bloody raging that I'm guessing it was McGuinness's idea to turn us around in the first half, so we had to shoot towards the covered end. It felt so unnatural. Luckily, it didn't make any difference, but it's so weird when we shoot the wrong way. I meant to ask Nathan about it yesterday, actually, because we won so comfortably, it would have looked like a bit of a silly question. But yeah, that was some mind games that luckily didn't come off, but it's up here, it's in my head.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's when it happened, everyone's just fuming. I don't know why. Like, you still got to shoot the same way twice each way, so it don't really matter. But yeah, I just think probably if you're Exeter, and then like the tight games, Shrewsbury, and with Charlton are shooting the covered end second half, and the fans are egging them on and trying to suck that ball into the goal, they're going to try any sort of thing they can to try and disrupt that rhythm. So to be fair, if I was the Exeter manager and or a player, I would have done exactly the same. But yeah, like deep down, I was sort of kind of fuming. Hope they got relegated just because of that. But yeah, and I've sort of calmed down a little bit today now we obviously win.
Yeah, right. Let's have a look at a couple of emails. Will emailed us yesterday. This is quite good. So on Thursday's show, I said it'd be interesting to see how our goalkeepers' stats actually look when you compare to other keepers in League One. So what Will's done, I mean, he's compared it only against the players currently in League One that have played for us in goal. But Ashley Maynard Brewer has got the best clean sheet percentage out of himself, Will Mannion, Dylan Phillips, Jojo Wallicott and Harvey. It says Harvey Eisted. It always says that on some of these websites, but it's Harry Eisted, isn't it? I think he goes by two names for some reason. Dylan Phillips has got a better save percentage than Will and Ash, but he's the only one who does. So Dylan Phillips has got a 72% save percentage. Will's got a 68%. And Ashley's got a 66% save percentage, so they're statting up quite nice. Goals against in 90 minutes, Ashley's got the best out of those five keepers, less than a goal per game. Will's only just over a goal per game. Harry Eisters has conceded an impressive 2.6 goals per game. So it's a narrow window of stats, but our keepers are statting up quite well actually there compared to the other former goalkeepers we've had. And to be fair, Eisted I don't think was very good for us. Wallicott I thought was well overrated by some of our fans. Phillips was a good goalkeeper for us, but there we go. Right, Colin says, Louis, did you notice after yesterday's game that the team started their thank yous to the crowd halfway facing the East Stand as usual, but there were loads more fans who stayed behind to applaud, having recognised the squad's performance. I'm a veteran of the East Stand. It's nice to be part of what feels like a revival at last. It felt slightly busier yesterday, Joe. I mean, there's still obviously the crowds are an issue, and we need to get them up. But I mean, that journey, and we can go back to compare pretty much every aspect of the club to the Crawley game at home. But the unity and the support from the fans. I mean, there's something they believe in now, which obviously wasn't there about 3 months ago.
Yeah, I had someone sat next to me who said that he's bought into the deal of 6 games for, I don't know, whatever it is, to try to come along and be part of the end of the season push. And I do think that the crowd was a little bit fuller yesterday, and Exeter definitely helped with that. Like, they bought a decent following for a League One side. There's no debate about that, and gluttons for punishment based on how they played. But it's nice to see the Valley rocking, and we all remember the Doncaster playoff game. The stadium was absolutely full, and that's the kind of atmosphere that we can generate, and it's only going to help the players. Like, if you've got another 3,000-4,000 fans baying for decisions and getting on top of referees and putting pressures on oppositions, then it's gonna make it a more difficult and challenging place to come, and it's already a difficult and challenging place for oppositions to come. So it's good to see the fans coming in. It's good to see that we're getting a bit more of a following, and hopefully they, the people that are coming through the gates at the minute are people that then contribute and get season tickets and become part of the journey next season, because there's nothing worse than being sat in the Valley that sounds a bit quiet, looks a bit desolate and empty, and we, as fans, we just want to be part of that raucous atmosphere, and if we can have that in the East End as well as in the North Upper, then that'd be great as well.
Lovely stuff. McSquared says, great to see us finally put aside well and truly to the sword. Not only was the win fully deserved, it could and should have been more emphatic. It was a phenomenal squad performance, and Mannion was virtually a bystander. Furthermore, Tyreece and Miles' goals were both superb. The fact that all the teams above us dropped points on the day was the icing on the cake. Cancelled out our loss to Birmingham. He's discounting Reading, but I don't think he can. But he says it looks like it's now 4 from 6 for the playoffs, with Wickham and the Hollywood boys batting it out for second place. A massive game against Orient next weekend. If we're genuine playoff contenders, we should be able to go and get a point at the very least. The O's may have been one of the form sides of late, but at the end of the day, they're not Birmingham City. I mean, that's a massive, massive game next weekend, which I'm really looking forward to. Although I say it's a massive game, like, we could go there and lose, and we could still get playoffs. I mean, that's it. But it's exciting. I mean, it's the sort of games you want to be involved in, And I know, it's Leighton Orient have had a fantastic season. By the sound, I haven't had a proper look back at what they did yesterday. But sounds of it, they did quite well at Bolton yesterday, but obviously got beaten by a good side who are now back in that conversation. I mean, it's so interesting. But yeah, teams teams around us didn't get results yesterday, which helped a little bit. But we're still points per game merchants until the end of the season. Right, let's have a listen to this interview with Tyrese Campbell after yesterday's game. This is what Tyreece had to say after his goal and performance against Exeter City. Tyrese, 3-0 win here against Exeter City. How did you see the game today?
I felt that we dominated from start to finish and we were clinical. But I think there was more chances we could have taken and increased the scoreline. But yeah, it's good performance.
Yeah, and as you say, it was pretty one-sided. It felt like today. Was it just a case of being patient and knowing those goals would come today?
Yeah, we were patient, and obviously when Miles came on, he was very good, and yeah, he's a good finish.
Yeah, talk us through your strike there from the edge of the area. Lovely little finish.
Yeah, I picked up the ball, then I saw Josh making the run on the outside, and then the defender back to it, so I just kept driving and picked my corner.
How pleased are you to get on the score sheet? Is that the one thing you wanted to sort of add more to your game over the course of the season?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to add to my game. I work out every day on the training, after training. So it's good for it to come off.
It's another home win. I think that's 5 in a row here at home. This is trying to turn this place into an absolute fortress over the last few months, haven't they?
Yeah, the fans help us a lot, give us motivation, and just want us to just do well for them. So yeah, they help a lot.
Yeah, you're looking at the table at the moment. It's just outside the top 6 on goal difference at the moment.
I haven't checked it. I haven't seen.
Yeah, I mean, how are you finding the playoff race? I mean, as Charlton fans, they say it's nice to be involved in something that sort of exciting at this stage of the season.
Yeah, that's the goal we set at the start of the season, and it's good for us to be involved in it.
When you came off, I noticed the manager had something to sort of say to you. What was he saying about your performance when you came off?
He was talking about the finish. He was saying that he's obviously happy for me that I scored, and he's happy.
Is he sort of saying like, this is what I'd love to see you do more, or is that sort of message he was passing on? Or?
Yeah, he told me all the time, because I've had opportunities like that before where I've missed or not hit it right. So I think he's happy the finally came off right today.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the manager's shown a lot of belief in you. He's given you a lot of starts this season up top. I mean, how do you sort of find working under him?
I like working under him. Shows a lot of trust in me, and it just gives me so much confidence on the pitch, knowing I'm playing for a manager that trusts me, and even if I make mistakes, he still believes in me, and just it helps a lot.
You go back to the start of the season, obviously saw something in you that you could play as a striker rather than out wide. I mean, do you like a manager who sort of analyses your play and tries to help improve you in ways like that?
Yeah, it helps a lot.
Excellent. Leighton Orient, obviously, next weekend. I know you're not looking at the table, but they're just above Charlton on goal difference in the top 6. I mean, that's going to be a fascinating game. You're looking forward to that one?
Oh, yeah, it'll be a good game.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you have to approach it the same as any other game. I know it's a big one, but do you sort of keep your heads down and go there and try and get the 3 points?
Yeah, keep our heads down. Yeah, try to get the 3 points.
There we go. That's my extensive interview with Tyrese Campbell after yesterday's game. I mean, I've said it before, but he's one of those players who really loves to let the football do the talking. Nathan, it's the way he's come on this season. Like his personality and his football don't really go together. Like he's so expansive on the football pitch. He's so expressive on the football pitch. He's very shy off of it, which is fine. I mean, it's not he ain't a politician. He ain't a public speaker. He ain't got to come and his job don't revolve around coming to speak to me. So I don't mind that. As long as he keeps doing what he's doing on the pitch, and I'm more than happy.
Yeah, exactly. He's very he's humble, very shy, and very well. To be fair. You ask him a question, he'll give you the answer in less than 3 syllables. But at the end of the day, he's answered the question, right? So he's doing his job.
I mean, it's a nice one when you have to transcribe it after. It can take about 4 minutes.
I bless him. Obviously, he's a massive confidence player. I can remember back to the Gillingham away game that we done on the comms on that day, and we could see his confidence was absolutely gone, absolutely gone. And as you say, this year he's just come on so well, even his upper body strength and how he holds the ball, how he holds off defenders, he's come on so well. And I think there are probably times where it's just that final product. We know he can do it, and even on his debut against Barnsley, we know that he can do it. So it's just about him affecting games a lot more. But he's still a massive part of this team, and he's done so well to as you say, from playing as a winger your whole life to then move in centrally and then have to drift out wide and doing different things, he's come on so well, and it's nice to see it because he's just a shy kid. He just wants to play football. He doesn't want to have to talk to someone like Louis Mendes after a game. He just wants to go home and enjoy himself. So I don't know if that was a punishment that he had to go and speak to you, but yeah, like literally, he's a really shy kid, but yeah, you ain't gonna. He's not. He doesn't have the sort of same airs and graces of, say, a Lyle Taylor in an interview anyway. So, but as long as he keeps scoring goals like that, I don't care if he speaks to you or not, mate.
No, exactly. Like let him score the goals. As I say, the football does the talking. That's more than enough for me. James said I should have shown him my graph. That would have got him rambling on a little bit. He would have got excited if he saw that. Luke said he wished he'd let me get a word in. Yeah, but fantastic player. Always exciting to watch a player who's come through the academy improve, and Nathan Jones has taken him on that extra level this season, which has been absolutely brilliant to see. Ethan says easy to forget that TC has made the step up that he has this season. Was playing as a sub last season and showed some signs of being a good player, but this season he's starting every week and playing very well. Yeah, he's been brilliant. Right, I did say we'd on Thursday. So I mean, it came out Thursday, and I hadn't had a chance to read about it before the show on Thursday, so I didn't really want to comment at the time. But the sponsorship brochure for next season is out, and naming rights for the Valley are up for grabs. Isaac says, Louis, do you know where we are on the naming rights for the Valley? I'm still voting for PSF Erections Valley, or if we can call it something. All hell let loose says, can Tough Sheet sponsor more than one stadium? It's a divisive subject. I mean, you can see that the people has been speaking about it on social media. I mean, Joe, I'll let you give your views on it. Are you concerned about the ground being renamed? I mean, by the sounds of it, I mean, Luke says the Valley Erection Services has a ring to it. I mean, by the sounds of what they've said, it would be the Valley something or something at the Valley or something like that. I mean, what's your views on it, Joe?
I don't like it. I don't like renaming stadiums for sponsorship deals. I get it brings money into the club, and I bang on about bringing money into the club and being much smarter commercially. But we've got it's such a touchy subject. I think it shows that they're potentially a little bit out of step with the fan base if they're even open to considering it, because it's a place that the fans have had a lot more involvement in than the majority of clubs up and down the country. We've fought for it. We've earned it back. We've physically been in labouring and toiling on it to build it to where it is. And, I'm never, ever going to call it anything else unless the River gets the rights, at which point I will call it the River Valley. But I don't think our budget stretches to that. So we're probably out the running. But ultimately, you can do what you want. You can sell it out. It's our club. It's our stadium. It's Charlton through and through. And no one's going to even pay any attention to it. No Charlton fan is going to call it anything other than the Valley. And it will just annoy me every time I see it written down. So, unless they're talking about, multi-million-pound sponsorship deal that really enables you to go to the next level and it's going to do an amazing amount for the club, then okay, package it up in that way and sell it to the fan base in that way. But I just don't see that we're going to get enough commercial revenue out of it for it to make a fundamental difference to where the club is, apart from maybe stemming a few of the losses. So yeah, not for me, and not when I was looking at the boxes behind us in the East Stand, and about half of them were empty. So that it's not like we've tapped out every other commercial avenue that we've got available to us, and it's the last thing that we can sell to make that last bit of difference. There's got to be better ways to bring money into the club, and a sensible pricing strategy on tickets, for instance, would help get more bums on seats, and that would bring more revenue into the club. So there's things that they can do without going to those nuclear options.
I mean, it's interesting as well. I mean, like, how valuable that actually is for someone to want to sponsor the ground, because, like, I mean, no one is going to call it anything other than the Valley. Even in my slightly professional sense, when I go to, I don't know, Cheltenham, I called it Wadden Road. I didn't even know what it was called at the time, like on air. Like, none of that money is going to hit my account, so we ain't going to be calling it anything other than the Valley on here because no one's paid me to call it something else. If someone wants to give me 200 grand to start calling it whatever, then fine. But obviously that's not going to happen. So I just can't see how there's value for money in anyone other than your name might appear on like the BBC Sport website or something. But I'm going to be calling it the Valley forever. So yeah, it's just a weird one. To be honest, for that reason, I don't really care. Ain't going to change my life. I'm just going to call it the Valley. So yeah, strange one, but we'll see. We'll see. Right, we've run out of time on this week's Charlton Live. I'll maybe just get some of the other views in. Actually, I'm trying to get people's views, but pretty much everyone's just making puns and calling it the erection something. But Cameron said, as long as they keep the Valley as part of it, then I couldn't care less. Like the Spotify Camp Nou sort of thing. That's the sort of stuff. Yeah, no one's. Ethan saying we should actually buy back the Valley and then use the naming rights to service the debt needed. At least that's a good outcome for all. Yeah, I mean, I think that the sums of money we're talking about here aren't going to buy us the Valley. Unfortunately, Peter said it would only work with a new stadium. They can sell the rights, but it won't affect the fans. Yeah, Nathan, do you want to have a say on that quickly, or?
I mean, Joe summed it up pretty well. To be fair, I'm not that. I mean, it depends on the money. I think if it's materially going to take us to the next level, I don't really care. As long as it's got the Valley in it, I don't care if they call it, the Bovril Valley or whatever. I don't really mind. But yeah, I don't know if it's going to be materially enough to make massive changes to our lives. But I'm just going to see what happens, really. But if someone does pay you 200 grand, Lou, then remember I lent you that $5, just so you know. Right?
Yeah, I don't remember that. Right, we've run out of time on Charlton Live before Nathan holds me upside down and shakes out my pockets. This has been a really enjoyable show as always. Another win at the Valley. The playoff race is hotting up. Massive thanks to everyone who's joined us live on the show this morning in the chat. Hope you've enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel and to check our merch store out, charltonlive.etsy.com. We'll be back on Thursday. We'll be looking ahead to Orient. Nathan and Joe, massive thanks for you two joining me this morning as well.
Cheers, gents.
Lovely stuff.
Lovely stuff indeed. I'm Louis Mendes. This has been Charlton Live, sponsored by PSF Steel Limited. We'll see you again on Thursday.
Charlton Live.